Yes, yes. Bargani, Gino Laco, Nani Bandele, Chief Noble Bandele El Amin. Peace once again. Glad to be back on blog. Been a few days, but thought I'd have an interesting show tonight. I know everybody's dealing with the elections right now and all that, but I wanted to get in some esoteric knowledge on a particular subject. This has kind of been on my mind for the last couple of days, and I've been reasoning with a couple of these Mason brothers, or not even brothers, but a couple of Albion Masons to be exact, and we have been building on some of this knowledge, so kind of just wanted to get in that. But before I get started, please check out our websites. We got Moorish New Kemet, Ohio.ning.com. It's Afrocentric Moorish Indigenous page. So, anybody with consciousness, please get to the site. Put some input in. A lot of videos up there, comments, blogs, whatever. Then we've got Indigenous Services, which is me, Brother King L. Bay. We got Chief Talani, G. Rashid, all those brothers part of that site, basically helping any brothers and sisters who are dealing with legal issues. They're trying to build their business. They're trying to do some administrative procedures, dealing with creditors, the whole nine. We try to deal with it. The show is basically talking about the devil. Many people, this is a subject matter that I've dealt with for years, dealing with the devil and what is the devil. Where did the origins of the devil come from? Because many people, argue that, God and devil are two separate entities outside of themselves, and that, that you cannot compare the devil to God, and that, evil comes from the devil and not from God. But, the one thing that you really got to understand is that if the Creator is the source of all things, then even evil would come from that creative source. Being that the devil, Lucifer, and Satan are the three main popular terms used to describe the same being. We know the devil the devil to be this being that has these pointed, has these horns and is red, almost looks, half animal, half, humanoid, and is out, trying to snatch people's souls and take them to what they call this place called hell, and things like that. And that version is very popular amongst Islam and Christianity. But what we're going to do tonight is just kind of look at those three words, and then we're going to get in. There's other words that may go along with it, but those three, we're going to look at those three. Let's look at Lucifer first. The conception of Lucifer as being the devil is a misnomer. The term Lucifer, as many understand it to be, is dealing with illumination, or what they call the shining one. Lucifer is also known as the morning star, the planet Venus. Also, looking at the Bible, Lucifer is mentioned in King James Version in the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 12. I think I have the actual verse here, so I'm just going to read it quickly. It says in Isaiah 14:12 through 15, "How you fallen from heaven, O morning star, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to the earth. You who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven. I will raise my throne above the stars of God," and whatnot. So that's the verse that a lot of the Christians link Lucifer as being Satan. They're saying that, Satan had fallen. The story being that Lucifer was a fallen angel, taking the third of the heaven with him, and creating these demons as his legion, and basically creating havoc amongst the humans. But the truth of the matter is that when you look at the origin of Lucifer, it actually seems to be from various sources. One of the sources is Canaanite mythology. What was interesting is that when you look at Canaanite mythology, it talks about the morning star is a god called Atar. And it's funny because Atar is said to have tried to take over Baal's throne, which he was unsuccessful. And so in that result, he descended down to rule in the underworld. So I guess the difference is that from the biblical story is that the god Atar, who tried to take over Baal's throne, wasn't necessarily defeated and thrown out. It's saying that it basically unsuccessful, so I'll just decide to rule in the underworld. So it's more like a choice that it was made versus being forced to be thrown or cast out of something. It's also linked to another Canaanite version where you've got the god Hallel. And Hallel tried to dethrone the Canaanite god El. So now you're talking about El, which is a term that you find in Islamic and Moorish culture. It's basically a Canaanite term, but the story is basically from a Canaanite mythology. Okay? And so the similarity is that, I guess, they're trying to say that this being tried to overthrow God. And that is where Isaiah, the verse in Isaiah kind of comes together and is Lucifer is called the morning star. Now, what is interesting about that is that the morning star is also known as Jesus or Yeshua. So now the problem arises that if the morning star is attributed to the so-called the Savior, Yeshua, which is supposed to be a good being, and in Christian theology, Jesus is Lord or God. So now you've got Jesus saying he's the morning star, and you got Lucifer saying he's the morning star. So is Lucifer really, really bad when you look at it? So something to think about, because Lucifer is also a term that is used to, like we said earlier, it is illumination or a illuminating object or being. So, for example, they call the Statue of Liberty a Lucifer, meaning a light bearer. So, being that you're talking about something that bears light, and usually when you're talking about something that's light or illumination, they're giving out wisdom, knowledge. They are a beacon of hope, or they are symbolizing something of great brilliance. So Lucifer is really symbolic of brilliance. And you'll find that this may go with what Freemasons actually deal with. I've talked to Freemasons, and many have said that Lucifer is God, based on what the Albert Pike, Grandmaster, well, not Grandmaster, but actually the over the southern jurisdiction, but they're saying that Albert Pike is known to say that Lucifer is God. Now, to a Christian, that sounds, I guess, like blasphemy, or it's very satanic in their mind. But like we're saying tonight, Lucifer and Satan and the devil are not the same. So when they're talking about Lucifer, they're talking about another deity. They're talking about a god. They're talking about the god El. I mean, not El, but they're talking about Baal or some other deity. So when you look at the morning star, it's also known as Sirius. And Sirius is also a very important star in Kemetic philosophy. You'll find that Osiris or Osir is connected to Sirius. So this also links back to the thought of Lucifer or light bearer being connected to one of our ancient gods, so Osir, or even like when they're saying Jesus, he's the light of the world. So this light or illumination is linked back to Lucifer in that particular form. So when you also, now let's move on to the next one is Satan. We look at Satan, you remember the Saturday Night Live, Satan, it's like you got Satan as the devil. That Satan and the devil are always interchanged with each other. Because Satan comes from like Ha-Satan, or it's from Hebrew. So being that Hebrew is the origin of Christianity and Islam in respects, Ha-Satan or Satan it's been connected with evil to them. Okay, but because it is Hebrew in origin, when we look at Satan in Hebrew, Satan is known as the opposer. It's been known as the evil spirit, but particularly in Abrahamic religions. So when they say Abrahamic or Abrahamic religions, they're talking about the three major religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. But what's interesting to note is that with the Hebrews, their understanding was that the various titles of the entity had both human and divine parts to it. So Satan had a divineness to it, even to the Hebrews. To the Hebrews, Satan was one who would challenge the faith of humans. Okay, that's what in the Hebrew Bible, Satan was more of a person who just challenged things, similar to what we have as a prosecutor today. A prosecutor basically will make accusations against a person and try to prove its point. So when you look at Satan being the opposer, it's just its job was to oppose. Now, what makes it interesting is that this accuser, which is Satan, was known to be appointed by God to test men's faith. So when you're talking about the Satan of the Hebrew Bible, which is the origin of it, Satan is an opposer, and he's fit as a person to accuse someone. The example would be Job. In the Bible, Job, which is in the Old Testament, which is the Hebrew, Job is being tested by Satan in his faith. If you ever read the story, it speaks on that Satan is moving to and fro through the heavens. So that's showing that Satan is moving freely on his own, not being hindered by God. And then he runs, and the story is like they run into each other. Oh, what's going on, man? And hey, how you doing, God? Hey, how you doing, Satan? What's up, man? Job down there. I don't know about him. God was like, oh, he's a good man. Satan like, nah, I don't think so, man. I think if you tested him and you took away all his wealth, man, he'd probably curse you out. He'd be pissed like you weren't nothing. So then God says, well, go down there and test him. So what's happening is that God is using Satan in the Hebrew text. He's using Satan to do his work, his will. Okay, he's very similar to the Kemetic versions of Sebek and the Yoruba Elegba. Elegba and Sebek deal with the crossroads in life when you have a decision to make. Job had to make a decision. Despite all these misfortunes happening to him, he had to make a choice. Is he going to stay faithful or is he going to lose his cool? So in many instances, when we have choices to make, we have to make a decision, and Satan is there to test you. Are you going to make the right decision? I'm here to test you. You have made a choice to be confronted by me. Let me see if you'll stand against me. So a lot of times, Satan is not the evil entity that you're burning in hell for. It is a necessary part of the structure that was created by the Godhead. So to even go further, it says that Satan is also a member of the divine council, one of the sons of God, saying that Satan is subservient to God. So it's not that this Satan is not the devil. Satan is not running around without control. Satan is also known as Satan El. When you look at Satan El or Satan El, it has the EL on the end, signifying an angelic attribute. So it's like Michael or Michael, Gabriel, Raphael. These titles are so-called angelic forms, which are actually Canaanite, may I add. They're not Hebrew. They are Canaanite. But these Canaanite entities are angelic forces, or forces that are used by the Creator, or God, or what's been known as God. So Satan is one of those beings. So Satan is not the devil.